Shalom, my friends. I am Rabbi Yosef, and in the next few minutes, I will reveal to you a spiritual technology that has been sealed, hidden in plain sight, for nearly 3,000 years. This is not a metaphor, not a positive thinking exercise, but a powerful operational prayer from King Solomon himself. A prayer for riches, for abundance, for a life of such profound wealth that it overflows to bless everyone and everything you touch. This is the lost prayer that financed the building of the first temple in Jerusalem, a secret of divine communion that transformed a wise king into the wealthiest man in the known world. By the end of this video, you will not only possess this prayer, but you will understand the spiritual physics that activate it, the deep Torah principles that give it power, and you will be able to apply it to your own life, starting tonight. This is the key to unlocking a dimension of prosperity you may have only dreamed of, a reality where financial anxiety ceases to exist and is replaced by a calm, certain, and powerful flow of divine provision. It is a technology for fundamentally re-engineering your soul into a magnet for true, lasting wealth. Go to the comments right now and write, "I am ready to receive." This is not just a comment for an algorithm. It is a sacred declaration. It is an act of spiritual activation. By typing those words, you are sending a signal to the universe, and more importantly, to your own soul, that you are no longer content to live in the shadows of scarcity. You are consciously choosing to step into the light of your divine inheritance of abundance. Declare your intention, open the vessel, because what I am about to share is a torrent of divine energy that requires your active participation. And if you are new to this channel, know that we are on a mission to awaken 1 million souls to their birthright of abundance. We are currently at 482,000, so click that subscribe button and join this global movement of spiritual architects. For those who are truly serious about accelerating their journey, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is where I unveil the full Torah wealth system, the deeper mechanics of what we discuss here. The doors are closing soon. The link is in the comments. Now, let me tell you why I can speak with such absolute certainty about the power of this prayer. It is because it saved my life. Not from a physical threat, but from a spiritual death, a poverty of the soul that was far more terrifying and insidious. Years ago, before this channel, before the school, I was a scholar. I had knowledge, but I had no wisdom. I had shelves of books, but my bank account was a barren wasteland. I remember the shame, the cold, metallic knot of fear in my stomach as I stood in the fluorescent glare of the grocery store, counting out loose change to see if I could afford both bread and milk for my children. I would put one item back, then the other, my face burning with a private humiliation, praying that no one I knew would witness my failure as a provider. My children would look at me with a pure, innocent trust that felt like a knife in my heart, a trust I felt I was betraying every single day. I would pray, I would beg, I would plead with the Creator, but my prayers felt like stones I was throwing against a brass ceiling, falling back down to mock me. I was living in what the sages call mochin dekatnut, or constricted consciousness, a spiritual state of lack where no light can enter. It felt like trying to breathe in a vacuum. I was drowning in debt, in quiet desperation, and my faith, the very bedrock of my existence, was crumbling into dust. I began to believe the most dangerous lie of the adversary, that a life of Torah was a life of poverty, that holiness and wealth were enemies. This is the poison that keeps so many good, God-fearing people locked in a prison of scarcity. I was in that prison, and the walls were closing in. I saw my own father, a righteous man, struggle his entire life, and I thought this was my destiny, a noble poverty I had to accept. I was wrong. It was not noble. It was a cage. One night, in the absolute nadir of my despair, I was in my small, cramped study, surrounded by the holy books that seemed to mock my suffering. The smell of old paper and leather, which once brought me profound comfort, now smelled like the decay of my own hopes. I was ready to give up. I cried out to God, not with a prayer, but with an accusation born of unbearable pain. You gave Solomon wisdom, but you also gave him riches beyond measure. Was this a special gift only for him? Is the path to wealth sealed for the rest of us? Is your abundance reserved for a select few from a bygone era? In my anger, a righteous anger born of a broken heart, I pulled a heavy, leather-bound volume of the Talmud from the shelf, and it fell from my trembling hands, crashing to the floor. It fell open to a commentary on the Book of Kings. It was a passage I had read a dozen times, but that night a single line of Aramaic seemed to glow, to pulse with a light of its own. It spoke of a tikkun, a spiritual rectification that Solomon performed after his famous request. The text hinted that after Solomon asked for a listening heart for wisdom, and God was so pleased that he granted him riches and honor as a bonus, Solomon then offered a second private prayer, a prayer of alignment, a prayer not of asking, but of receiving. It was a spiritual technology to open the channels, the sephirot, to allow the divine flow of shefa, of abundance, to pour into the physical world. It was not a prayer for riches. It was a prayer that is riches. My hands were trembling. My heart was pounding in my chest like a drum. This was it. This was the key. The sages had hidden it in plain sight, not to conceal it, but to preserve it for those who were desperate enough to see. It was not a story about a king. It was a manual of creation, a blueprint for reality itself. To truly grasp this lost prayer, you must first understand the Torah anchor upon which it is built. In the first book of Kings, chapter 3, the newly crowned King Solomon goes to Gibeon to offer sacrifices. The Creator appears to him in a dream and says, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Now, this is the ultimate test. A blank check from the Master of the universe. A lesser man, a man operating from constricted consciousness, would have asked for long life, for the death of his enemies, or for immense wealth. But Solomon, in his nascent wisdom, asks for something far more valuable, something that is the cause of all other effects. He asks for a lev shomea, which is often translated as a listening heart or an understanding mind. But it is so much more. He was asking for a consciousness that could hear the silent will of God, a mind that could perceive the underlying unity in a fragmented world. He asked for the wisdom to govern his people, to discern between good and evil. This act of selfless asking, of prioritizing wisdom over worldly gain, so pleased the Creator that he not only granted Solomon's request, but also gave him what he did not ask for, riches and honor unparalleled by any king before or after him. This is the story everyone knows. But the Kabbalists, the mystics of our tradition, ask a critical question. How? How did the riches manifest? Was it simply a magical gift? Or was there a process? The secret lies in the nature of Solomon's request. By asking for a listening heart, he was asking for the ability to align his consciousness with the divine will, to hear the subtle frequencies of creation. He wasn't just asking for knowledge, he was asking for the ultimate spiritual technology, the ability to receive. The riches were not a separate gift, they were the inevitable physical manifestation of his elevated consciousness. The lost prayer is the specific linguistic and meditative tool he used to calibrate his soul to that frequency of reception. It is the code that unlocks the hardware of the universe. Now, let me give you the practical application. The mechanism behind the Solomon Prosperity Prayer is based on a profound Kabbalistic concept, the difference between asking and aligning. Most people pray from a state of lack. They say, "God, please give me money," which energetically translates to, "I am in a state of not having money." You are affirming the very condition you wish to escape. You are broadcasting a frequency of scarcity, and the universe, in its perfect and impersonal justice, reflects that frequency back to you. The Solomon Prayer does the opposite. It does not ask for anything. Instead, it is a declaration of alignment. It is a tool to tune your entire being, your thoughts, your emotions, your soul, to the frequency of divine abundance, which is always flowing, always present, but often blocked by our own consciousness of lack. Think of it like a radio. The broadcast signal for classical music is always in the air. If your radio is tuned to a static-filled rock station, you will not hear the symphony. You don't need to beg the radio station to play classical music. You simply need to turn the dial. This prayer is that dial. It bypasses the conscious, begging mind, and speaks directly to the subconscious, the neshama, the soul. It uses specific Hebrew words that are not just words, but vibrational codes. These codes resonate with the creative forces of the universe, dismantling the inner blockages, the klipot, or shells, of fear, doubt, and poverty consciousness that prevent the flow of shefa into your life. It is a spiritual technology for rewiring your energetic signature from "I lack" to "I am a channel for divine abundance." Now, we come to the protocol itself. The Solomon Prosperity Prayer Protocol. This is a 3-step process that must be done with focus and intention, preferably in the morning before the noise of the world fills your mind, or at night before sleep. Step 1. The preparation. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, imagine you are breathing out the black smoke of fear and anxiety, and breathing in a pure, white light. Place your right hand over your heart. This is the seat of the Lev Shemeya, the listening heart. Feel its beat. This is the rhythm of your life, a gift from the Creator. Now you are ready. Step 2. The prayer. Recite the following words aloud. Do not rush. Feel the meaning of each word vibrate through your body. The prayer is a fusion of Solomon's request and the Kabbalistic understanding of it. You will say, "Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe, like your servant Shlomo, I do not ask for silver or gold, for long life or victory over my enemies. I ask for a listening heart, a heart that hears the whispers of your wisdom, a heart that discerns truth, a heart that beats in rhythm with your creation. I align myself now with the divine flow of Shefa that you bestowed upon Shlomo HaMelech. The channel is open, the vessel is ready. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, she'asani ben bat chorin. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has made me a free man, woman. Step 3. The visualization of reception. This is the most critical step. For 5 minutes after the prayer, you must hold a state of pure reception. Do not think about your bills. Do not think about your debts. See yourself as King Solomon standing before the newly completed temple. See the gold of Ophir, a constant shimmering river of wealth, arriving at your shores. See the fragrant cedar of Lebanon being unloaded, the raw material for sacred construction. See the emissaries from the Queen of Sheba, from all the nations of the earth, bringing tributes not out of obligation, but out of sheer admiration for the wisdom and light emanating from your kingdom. But do not feel greed or attachment. Feel the joy of being a channel. See the wealth flowing through you, not just to you. See yourself using this abundance to build, to create, to give charity with an open hand, to support your family with dignity, to bring more light and beauty into the world. You are not a stagnant reservoir, hoarding water until it becomes putrid. You are a dynamic river, and your very nature is to flow. Hold this feeling of being a flowing channel of blessing for 5 full minutes. This protocol, practiced daily with unwavering faith, will systematically dismantle your poverty consciousness and rebuild your entire energetic system for wealth. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rabbi, this sounds too simple. Can saying a few words and visualizing for 5 minutes really solve my deep-rooted financial problems? I have real bills, real debts, a real job I hate. And you are right to be skeptical. The rational mind, the intellect of the exile, cannot grasp this. It is trained to see problems and solutions only in the physical realm. It believes that to get more money, you must work more hours, get a second job, or win the lottery. It does not understand that the physical world is a shadow of the spiritual world. Your financial situation is a printout of your spiritual consciousness. To change the printout, you don't scribble on the paper, you change the data in the computer. This prayer is the code that rewrites the data. It is not a magic trick that bypasses effort. On the contrary, it makes your effort effective. When you operate from a consciousness of abundance, the right opportunities will appear as if by magic. The right people will call you. The business idea you've been struggling with for years will suddenly become clear and actionable. You will find the courage to ask for that raise, not from a place of neediness, but from a place of earned value. You will have the wisdom to make the right investments, to see opportunities where others see only risk. The prayer does not absolve you of the need to take action in the world. It infuses your actions with divine power and precision. It turns your desperate hustle into a joyful and prosperous dance with the Creator. Do not dismiss its simplicity. The greatest truths are always simple. It is the ego that loves complexity because it thrives on problems. Your soul already knows this truth. Your job is to get your mind out of the way and let your soul do the work. So, my friends, I give you this key, this ancient and powerful spiritual technology. Do not just listen to this video and forget it. That would be a tragedy. You have been led here for a reason. The algorithm of the universe brought this message to you today because your soul cried out for it. Honor that call. Commit to practicing the Solomon Prosperity Prayer Protocol for the next 30 days. Do it with faith. Do it with consistency. Do it with a listening heart. And as you do, I want to give you my personal blessing. May the Creator of the universe, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the source of all wealth and all wisdom, open the windows of heaven for you. May He pour out a blessing so great you do not have room enough to store it. May He heal your consciousness of lack and replace it with the consciousness of a king, a queen, a true child of the Master of the universe. May your hands be blessed in all they do. May your path be illuminated, and may you become a beacon of light and a channel of abundance for your family, your community, and for the entire world. Shalom.